Now we're working.
ZZ Top.
You gotta love the deco in here.
Oh yeah, I do.
And the inflatable furniture.
I wouldn't have caught that. I like it.
That's nap time right there.
Yeah, he's if I had $1 for every nap I've had on that thing.
That's quality napping.
Heck yeah.
Is that an empty fruit cup sitting there? Or is that a cup? Is that just a cup holder?
Those are cup holders.
That had diced peaches. That had diced peaches in it, didn't it? You know it did.
It's the reducer for smaller bottles.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hit it, Millzer. Let's do it. Well, hello, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Whenever you're tuning in, we're glad and honored to have you part of the Preferred Experience podcast here. I'm Will, and that's Millzer across the way. And hey, buddy, it's good to see you. You're no worse for the wear. It's been a rough week.
It's been a rough week.
We're sitting here on a Tuesday, already talking about a rough week.
Hey, look, it's once mid-August hits, I'm shot every day until December, into December.
But today was like a turning point. You step outside this morning, it's like 55 degrees. Man, it's like, I know I'm getting my hopes up because this is the false fall, right?
Yeah,
this is the false fall.
That'll be 90 next week. You can bet.
Yeah, we're gonna have about a week to 10 days of this false fall.
You want me to tell you why I know it's going to be 90 next week, or at least 95, and the humidity will be back? Because there's no doubt in my mind, because every time we go to Stanhope, it's going to be 95 and about 110% humidity in that press box.
Yep, smoky on the field.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's always smoky at Stanhope. I don't know what it is. Always smoky.
It's the death fog, man. I mean,
man. The place is cursed.
I mean, we were talking about that. We had the same kind of similar situation at Smith Station as far as rain. This is like the first time it didn't rain. But Stanhope, it's not just rains that happen at Stanhope. It's like torrential downpours right before kickoff.
Right before, yeah, and then they're just
enough to make it extra humid.
Just enough to puddle up the sidelines, and hey, our guest
and create the smoke
exactly. And our guest today knows all too well about this Stanhope smoke. We got a really cool guest today. Ricky Rose is our Preferred Experience podcast guest today, and Ricky is on here because he works for iRoof. No, that's not why he's here, but that's what he does. That's what he does right now. But you're going to learn about this guy today, and Millzer, you know as well as I do, what a tremendous story Ricky Rose has to bring today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's of course I've known Ricky for years, being Prattville guys. I've known him mostly through his coaching exploits at Prattville High School. He was assistant baseball coach, assistant football coach, and for years up there. So we've been close for a while now. But I really didn't know everything that he's actually pulled off in his life.
He's done some stuff.
He's done some stuff
and knows some stuff. So, Ricky, welcome, buddy.
Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Man, so we're talking about this. We're talking about the Stanhope fog, right? The Stanhope, the curse of that stadium, and you're no stranger to that at all because you played for Prattville High School back in the '90s.
I hate no hope, no hope.
And you've been with them ever since. I mean, all the way from when you weren't here in Prattville in the early 2000s, and then you come back and and now you're no longer. You're no longer on the paid staff, but you're a volunteer staff.
Yes,
you just can't get it out of you.
I've got too much line in me. Too much line.
When I first met Ricky, I guess I met you started really knowing you about 3 or 4 years ago. And there's this guy over in the coach's booth, and he's always got this big white headband on, and he's running around. He's like smacking people up. I'm like, this guy needs to be down the sideline. Look at that energy level. And then come to find out, is Ricky Rose, man. And I asked him when he came in. I was like, he had the white headband with him then. I was like, man, that white headband means something, right? It means something. What'd you tell me?
I just sweat a lot. I just sweat a lot. I'm always busy.
Not symbolic at all. I thought it was like some kind of like remember how what was the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie? Was it Street Fighter? Not Street Fighter. Bloodsport? No, not Bloodsport.
Yeah, it was Bloodsport.
Was it Bloodsport?
Yeah,
where
his buddy had the always wore the bandana.
Yeah, the dude from Nerds.
Yeah, the dude from Nerds. Yeah,
Ogre.
Yeah,
Ogre, who was a famous kickboxer.
Yeah, and Chung Lee or what? I can't remember.
Tong Po. No, it wasn't Tong Po.
But the actor's Bolo Young.
Bolo Young is the actor.
Young.
The largest chest in the world.
In the world, he beat him up, put him in the hospital, and took his bandana and wore it on his thigh. Yeah, and that's what it was. And he as an intimidation factor to Frank Dukes.
Yeah, Frank Dukes. Dukes, my man, you good? And he's like, now I break you like I break your friend. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And he's pointing with his thumb.
And it's so badly dubbed.
So badly dubbed.
Bolo Young couldn't speak an ounce of English.
But he made the greatest meme of all time when it said Bolo Young playing the drum set. Yeah. When he's doing like this, he's throwing his hands up and down like he's won something, and then they put the drum set in front of him. So good. Anyway, way off topic.
Way off topic.
I should have came up with something cool though, like it's from one of my enemies.
Fallen enemy. I took it off of fallen enemy.
My last kill.
Yeah.
So talk about your experience growing up in Prattville and your experience playing for Coach Clark, and just walk us through, because you were there at the beginning of the Clark era, and you were there for also the end of Coach what was his name?
Lucas.
Coach Lucas. That's right. I was trying to say Coach Owsley. That's a different guy altogether. Coach Lucas to Coach Clark. Talk about that transition and what that did for you.
Yeah, I moved into Prattville this summer between my 5th and 6th grade year, and didn't really know anybody coming from Montgomery and stuff. My parents moved around a lot. It was kind of hard for my dad to keep a job for some reason, and so just moved around a whole lot, and then wound up settling down in Prattville, coming over from Montgomery. I went to a school there. I don't even remember the name of it now right off the top of my head, but moved in and didn't know a lot of people, but then I started playing for the Prattville Bears. Football back then, it was Bears and Raiders.
Bears and Raiders.
I met a lot of my friends playing football for the Bears, and that's pretty much where my core group of friends came from. Was from the Bears, and started then. Played football all the way through junior high with Coach Page and all them, and he paddled me more times than I'd like to admit. I was actually on his roof the other day, and I was like, hey, he said, I remember you. And I said, remember how many times you paddled me? And he just laughed. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Paddling.
Yeah.
What a novel concept.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe lost in today's education.
We need to bring it back because it worked.
I mean, what would you rather have, a 3-day suspension or a paddling? I'd rather take 3 days out of school.
You always had the choice, laps or licks.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Licks will straighten you up in a minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
That's all right. I started playing. I went for the Bears to the junior high, on up to the high school, and Coach Tommy Lucas was there, and I always remember him from just saying, "Run it again, run it again, run it again, Jeremy Walker, run it again." And I don't know if you guys remember Jeremy Walker. We called him Tex at the time, and he was just a good dude. And he used to give me around home from school and stuff like that. But
went on to play at Alabama.
He did. Yep. Just a good dude. I think he's a really successful lawyer around. And, anyway, still a good dude. But I remember just going from Coach Lucas to Coach Clark, man, just a breath of fresh air. Like Coach Lucas was, I've kind of always thought of myself as an old school guy, but he was super old school. And coming from that to Coach Clark, it was just like the new dawn or something. Yeah. Like he come in and had all these new ideas, and he was young, and he had all these younger coaches with him and stuff. Like, Coach Lucas had all the old school guys, Coach Register and all those guys, but Coach Clark brought in some new guys, and brought in his dad, which is always a trip. I always loved Coach Reagan Clark a lot, and I respected all of them a lot. So it was just different going from Coach Lucas to Coach Clark, but I learned a lot being a Prattville line. And I guess that's why I like to volunteer so much, because I'm not paid. I volunteer everything I do for baseball and football. Like I've never been paid on a salary or anything like that. No stipends or anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But
that's the heart of a true line right there.
Absolutely.
When you're willing to do that, because it's not just like an hour here and there.
No.
it's time consuming.
Yes, sir. And just the fact that so many of my coaches had such an impact on my life. If I could, man, if I could do that just one kid, it's worth it for me. So I got a feeling I've done that.
I feel like I have too, in spades, and we're going to find out as this interview goes on, as this whole conversation materializes, and people listen, they're going to find out it's way more than just one. So you graduate in 2000?
2001.
Graduated in 2001.
Yep.
9/11 happens the same year.
Oh yeah.
And what were your plans pre 9/11?
Pre 9/11, I was probably going to go walk on and play football at UAB. I was a pretty good long snapper and went up there and won a long snapping competition and was offered a preferred walk on spot. I'm not sure what happened. My parents had some jacked up tax information, so I couldn't really fill out the FAFSA forms or whatever it is. So it was pretty much here. College is on your own. So I knew UAB was super expensive, and that was probably what I would have wound up doing. And then 9/11 happened. I don't really know why. It just lit something in me. Like my grandfather lived in New York, still does. He travels back and forth from New York and Tennessee, but he was nowhere near any of that up there. But I took it personal for some reason. It was kind of like a gut punch to any of us. And as a high school kid, I took it personal. And just seeing the plane sit on TV, it's one of the things everybody remembers where we were at on September 11th. And I remember where I was for sure. And just took it as a gut punch, and I wound up joining the military February 5th, 2002. So really, really soon after that.
Very soon, just months after.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a massive influx of kids like your age and just a little bit older that were joining in left and right. And I'm sure you met a lot of these kids that were coming in, and they're all coming in for the same reason, just angry and wanting some payback.
Well, a lot of that was, and then there's a name for us that come in like post 9/11, whatever. I forget the name of it, but there was a huge influx of guys that come in, and I remember it was just, hey man, we're going to war. Let's go kick some ass or whatever. So it was just, for sure. It was. I think it was more of let's go serve our country, something bigger than us. And normally guys were going, hey, I'm going to go pay for college. I don't really know what I'm going to do, so let's go join the military. That no doubt was a time where it was like, okay, the patriotic kids signed up for sure then.
Yeah, and that's a decision that changed your life forever.
Oh yeah.
Because talk about your experience. You went Air Force.
I did.
Correct.
I did.
And where did it take you? You went to basic. You went to basic in 2002. Come out of basic, and what happened next?
Come out of basic, and I was selected before I left. I had some great advice, man. I had some really good mentors, Chief, Debbie, and Ed Martinez. I went to church with them and their kids and stuff. And my dad, best advice he ever gave me was, son, I was in the Army, don't join the Army. And I said, okay, well, I noted that, and went and talked to the Air Force recruiter, and Deb and they were both chiefs at the time, chiefs of the Air Force, which is the highest enlisted rank you can get.
Right.
They said, Ricky, we'll go to the recruiter with you, and they did. Make sure I wasn't getting pushed around or nothing. Make sure they were going to do what they were going to say or whatever. And man, when I walked in with the chiefs, it was no BS. They knew they were going to get over on me. So I took the ASVAB. I scored like in the 80s or something on the ASVAB, so I could have had any job in the military I wanted pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think you get 6 choices, and 5 of those are medical choices, and my 6th choice was still photography. And they had told me, hey man, if you get a photographer, you can do that, and you'll be you'll shoot for the base newspaper and stuff. And I was like, I've never done that, but that seems like a really cool job. And long story short, my recruiter called me on like a Saturday. He goes, hey man, what are you doing? And I was at Lowe's with my dad trying to help him build a privacy fence. And he says, I got good news and bad news. I said, well, whatever. Tell me the news. He says, well, the good news is one of your jobs opened up. It's which one? It was number 6. It was photography. And I said, okay, well, that sounds cool. And I've been looking into it a little more after we initially spoken about it. And he says, yeah. And what's the bad news? Bad news is you need to leave Monday. And I'm thinking, here I am in the back of my dad's truck, or loading wood in the back of my dad's truck on a cell phone that I just got. Because, they weren't, everybody didn't have cell phones back in 2001, whatever.
Right. If you did, it was pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sitting there talking, and I'm thinking, I have not told my mom or my dad I'm joining the military. Like, this is not good. so immediately tell my dad, hey, Dad, I'm joining the military. He's like, yeah, son, that's awesome. That's awesome. Does your mama know? No, she don't know yet. Well, my mom lived in Atlanta, so my dad let me off then pretty quick, and I called my mom. Hey, Mom, I want to take you to dinner. What? I said, yeah, I'm gonna come take you to dinner. And wound up telling my mom about joining the military. I remember her crying, and my mom's always been my biggest fan, by the way. And
Good mom.
oh yeah, for sure. And she cried, but she knew it was probably best for me. Like she knew where my heart was, and
Yeah.
my mom knew me more than probably anybody, so she knew I was in it for the right reasons.
So your first job opens up, and it's a still photography job in Oklahoma. Is that right?
Yeah, my first duty station was Oklahoma Altus, Air Force Base, Oklahoma, which is basically in the armpit of Oklahoma. If you look on the map, it's right where the armpit would be, probably.
So Oklahoma, and then is the arm that comes out. So right in that little angle there is where.
Right in the angle, yeah, right there at Texas, and it's just I just call it the armpit because it stinks there, man. It was a bad place for an 18, 19-year-old to be.
Not a lot to do.
There wasn't anything there, but a lot of good people. It was a great base. It was a great mission, and I had amazing leadership. Was the coolest thing. I had a guy, Master Sergeant Scott Johnson. He was my my first supervisor and mad guy. He showed me the ropes, man, and he really taught me how to be not only a good airman, but how to be a man. And I really appreciate that. And him and a guy named Leonard Lee, who Buddy Lee, I keep up with him. He lives in Montgomery still, and they really taught me a lot about the Air Force and which path to take. And they showed me the right path, and I knew the wrong path because I saw some people go the wrong path. But I've always chose to take the good path, and I've had good leadership along with doing kind of the right things has always put me in a pretty good spot. So
you go post 9/11, the patriotic juices are flowing, and you end up on a base in Oklahoma shooting still photography, like with the little flag behind the guy, and like they're like yearbook photos, right?
Yes, that night retirement ceremonies. There was Altus was a big. They taught like area refuelers how to that was their job there. So they had a lot of graduating classes, and I took a lot of group photos, a lot of, like you said, like official document photos, whatever. And there's some guys that come through that were combat photographers, and I saw them, and they were in flight suits, and I remember thinking, what are these dudes doing in flight suits? They're photographers. Like only pilots wear flight suits. Like what's going on here? Well, they told me that, hey, we're a combat camera and we're stationed in Charleston. And I wish I remember the two guys that I met because they deserve probably more credit than anybody for my career as far as just beating somebody and where my career wound up going after beating them. But just once I saw those dudes, man, it was over. Like we travel the world and take photos, and I was like, I got to get out of Oklahoma. So how do I do that? You apply, you do this. So I went back to my supervisor, Sergeant Johnson. I said, hey, man, this is what I want to do. He said, man, that'd be perfect for you. Like, you love it. I was single at the time. He said, man, you love it. So I applied, and when I was accepted, I was probably, I think, the youngest person in combat camera at the time to be accepted. So that was very humbling. But, man, I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Now, most people, when you say combat camera, they have no idea what that is. I mean, when I saw you mention it, I was like, I have no idea what combat camera even means. I mean, it didn't dawn on me that there was somebody responsible for taking the general document photos, like you're talking about in Oklahoma.
Yep.
But it's like, well, sure, somebody has to do that. It's not just they don't have just like their cell phone cameras. They're taking pictures.
No.
It's a legitimate position, but this combat camera is something wholly different, right? Tell us about that.
Well, what combat camera is global reach, global images is their kind of their saying or whatever. But basically, bottom line up front is they are the eyes and ears for the generals and the guys that are making ultimate decisions of, hey, we're going to send Army to this place. We're going to send this many people to this place. We're going to send humanitarian aid to this place. Well, they send us there to show why we're doing it there. And, here's, like, I remember going to a place in Peru. There was a big earthquake there, and I remember showing up. They say, hey, listen, we need y'all to show why we're here, and if we need more or whatever, like, show exactly where the aid's going. So we went out in the community, and we took pictures of, not only the naval ship landing there, but coming on to, land, whatever it is, but how the troops were being used, what exactly, so that the leaders that were making decisions could have a visual aid and know exactly where their resources were going.
So we have satellites all over the planet in orbit, and we can see anything, anytime we want to. But there's something about in-person photography that tells a different story.
Boots on the ground.
And you're exactly boots on the ground with a camera. And you said that your pictures would let the generals and the high ups in the Pentagon know where to deploy and when to deploy. So you're like recon essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what a lot of people. It kind of, when they're in the Air Force, a lot of people are, oh man, what does this guy do? Like, it's no big deal. Like the Air Force, the Chair Force, or whatever, they don't do anything. Well, that was true until I got in this job. It was that was dang sure not the thing. Like it was probably. I'm not going to say we were special operators or nothing, but that was probably the closest thing that I could. I tell people about this. Pretty much, you're a camera operator, but you're dang sure an operator.
Oh yeah, and you're toting with you, right? I mean,
Yes,
you toting a lot more than a camera.
Oh yeah, I had like in Iraq, I carried a M4, it's full automatic M4, a Barrett 9mm pistol, 2 cameras, batteries, lenses, my food, my water, all your ammunition for both guns. Like,
yeah,
it's no joke.
So not just taking these pictures, but if the stuff goes down, you're ready to rock and roll.
Drop that camera, and that was the ultimate thing in training is when do you know when to drop your camera? And the way I always told people was, you know. It's just
when the hair on the back of your neck stands up.
Yeah, or when you can literally feel that round cracking beside you, or see it land in front of you, or the dude next to you gets shot. Then you're like, okay, this is. I don't think a picture's really going to matter too much right now.
Now you foreshadowed a little bit right there. You said this combat cameras, like global reach, global images, and you said when you were in Iraq. And you got to remember, this is right after 9/11. This is 2002 and on. We're in the beginnings of the war on terror, right? And the government has, and our FBI and our defense specialists have this top 100 list of terrorists that we're going to kill every one of these guys if we can find them. We just don't know where they are.
Oh yeah.
And that's when Ricky comes in.
Yeah, that was back in 2006. It was my second deployment. My first deployment, I didn't deploy as combat camera. I was in Oklahoma, and I took the very first deployment I could get. I volunteered to do whatever I could, and it was there was a duty that I had. It was I went over and watched third country nationals work, and I basically watched them and kind of babysit them all day long. And so that, and I was in Ali Salim, Kuwait.
Third country nationals?
Third country nationals. And in Kuwait, like, Kuwait is rich, man. They don't work. They got folks that come in from all over the poor folks that come in there to work, and they pay them pennies on the dollar to come work. And so it was called TCN duty, and I was on a base, and it was basically just watching the third country nationals work on base, make sure they're not messing anything up or whatever. And I really enjoyed that, but I got to see a lot of the behind the scenes combat stuff, because in Kuwait, that's where the guys that were getting hit in Iraq at the time of 2004, that's where they were sending them. And so that was my first little bit of kind of taste to get to see that. And then I was still in Aldous at the time. And then once I got back from that deployment, that's when, hey, man, combat camera, that's what I'm doing. So that's what that led me to my 2006 deployment. And I went there, and
this is where it got heavy.
That's where it got heavy, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense. Like, I knew I was going to be working with the 101st Airborne doing air assault missions. And an air assault mission is where you get on a helicopter and you fly out to XYZ and you land there, and you're normally there for about 24 hours pretty much. We land about 3 in the morning, and we'd leave again about 3 in the morning if we could. A lot of times 24 hours turned into 48 or 72 hours pretty quick, depending on how much we'd been shot at there, if it was safe for the helicopter to come out and get us, or if there's a sandstorm and the weather was good enough for them to come back and get us, or there's a lot of factors that
sure.
And it led to a lot of stuff like you were saying is just going to get the bad guys. That was a lot of the regular Army. What their job was to go and get the overall intelligence. Like, hey, we're going to go raid this village. And this village all day. No one knows why we're in this village, but that's something I kind of learned working with a lot of different people in the Army is they do everything for a reason. Like the regular Army is going to hit this village because that night Special Operations is going in. And they're going to go collect some dudes that they think are there. And while we're collecting stuff throughout the day, like I'm taking pictures, and I don't know why I'm taking pictures of this stuff. Some of it just seemed just silly. Hey, Airman Rose, go ahead and take a picture of this. Or whatever. Okay, I got you. And then I'd upload my photos, and then we'd go to the Pentagon, not knowing what I was even doing, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
You're just following orders.
Yeah, just following orders. And then it became time to, once the special guys realized, hey, this guy's all right, he could roll with us without getting himself killed or getting us hurt. So they started taking me on a lot more missions. I was with it's called CJ SOTF, the Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force, and that was Army Rangers and Green Berets and Navy SEALs. And
the baddest of the bad.
Dudes.
All together.
Yes. and that was eye opening because
Like
one day,
Chuck Norris up in there.
pretty much, yeah, that's kind of Chuck Norris is my job. I'm just kidding.
You kind of look like Chuck Norris. You know?
Well,
Hey, man, he was in the
so
Air
you're saying
Force.
it's a combination: Chuck Norris, Charlie Sheen, and
Yes, and Jackie Chan.
Yes, Jackie Chan.
Anyway,
That's awesome. So yeah, just the job there was the special guys. Their job was basically to go kill and capture the head guys every night, like the top 10 Al Qaeda, and that's one of the things is, man, when you kill the head of the snake, it's going to grow another head, and man, that's one thing that's the Al Qaeda was really good at is, once we kill one guy, they're going to have somebody take over, and sometimes they'd have their own internal power struggles, which was good for us because that gave us time to jump on them before they have a time to really rebound. But they knew what the heck they're doing, man. They've been around a long time, unfortunately.
so you are part of the crew that's tracking down and killing America's Most Wanted.
Absolutely. And
That is unbelievable.
Of course, I'm just taking pictures of it, whatever. But
You're not just taking pictures because I mean, I imagine there's a few times you dropped that camera.
it's more than a few years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
because you got to look at it this way. Yeah, you're taking pictures, but they're not taking pictures of you.
No.
No, they don't want a
They're
picture of
shooting
Ricky.
something else
Oh,
at
yeah.
you,
Oh yeah.
And
and they don't care that you have a camera.
Oh no. I was actually more of a target.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Americans during that time, and I think even still today, had this preconceived notion of these people that we're going after, that they're all just savages. That there's not a lot of intellect. There's not a whole lot of ability to make war in these people, and that's not the case, is it?
Not at all. No. I mean, if you think about it, like, I'm not sure how long the Taliban's been around, but way longer than any of us have been around. Like, they are danger organized, and at the time it was Al Qaeda, not just the Taliban, but they're not one and the same, but basically, and it's there's a lot of hate in their hearts, man, and they don't fight fair. Like, that's one of the hardest things psychologically that a lot of me, not only me, but a lot of my brothers and sisters come back over there is, you're not fighting a dude that's in a uniform like you are. You're going out and fight someone that looks like a civilian. Like this dude, you might have just hemmed him up, and he's saying, "Oh no, it's okay, I'm a good guy." And you turn your back, and that dude's, the one that's coming to fight us. That's the bomb maker of the town or something. You're like, man, I just saw that dude yesterday. Holy cow! And just it's hard to fight somebody without a uniform on.
Yeah, because we have the greatest military force in the world, but also probably the most benevolent force in the world too. We don't want to kill innocent people. We don't want to kill civilians, almost to a fault in these wartime situations. We've seen. I mean, I know you've seen.
Oh yeah.
Firsthand, we've seen on the news where soldiers would be killed by what they thought was an unarmed civilian who they let go.
Yeah, and that happened a lot. That was a part of Big Comic Cam was taking pictures of like collateral damage and stuff. And man, I can't tell you how many times that we hit like the wrong target. Like, the bomb fell on the wrong house and destroyed a whole family. So, and then I had to go and take pictures of that and, hey, show you this is what happened. Like kids and family members, this bodies blown apart and stuff like that, and just the part that nobody really likes to talk about, but it was part of the story, and the guys making the decisions needed to know that kind of stuff happened.
And people want to blame the American military for that,
Yeah.
but it's not the American military's fault.
No.
It's these hateful people that are making that are the war makers and the terrorists that live next door, and we didn't have the exact intel or the right coordinates, and this happened, and the whole world wants to rail against America. But hey, if it's not America they're targeting, it's going to be you next, right? You Western democracy loving country. I mean, they hate us all, and America's just target number one right now. So you're going into these places and like taking out these bomb makers and these people that have the ability to reach us just about anywhere they want to. It's not just to kick the door open and they're sitting in the living room in a recliner.
Oh.
These places are wired up.
Yeah, we would. There's a lot of this stuff was secret, top secret back in the day, and I really hope it's been declassified. But there's a certain way that special operators operate, and they're very smart in the way they do things. Like if I know we're going to take out the number 2 guy tonight in Al Qaeda, we know this guy's a bomb maker. We know, that's all he does is make roadside bombs or whatever. So this dude obviously has access to explosives, and he's obviously probably not going to go down without a fight if we were trying to capture him. So it was safe to say that his house was probably booby-trapped or whatever, so he'd know and that, hey, Americans are going to come kick my door in because they just kicked in Ollie bars,
Yeah.
the house yesterday, and he was number one, and I know I'm his number two, so, I mean, I know it's coming. So a lot of times they would booby-trap their houses, and that's a lot of, they have roadside bombs, they have vehicle-borne bombs called VBIEDs. And IEDs are just regular roadside bombs, and then they'd have house-borne IEDs where they literally put bombs in houses where we'd have guys walk in and hit a tripwire, and there's just look to your right, boom, you know more. It killed it. I mean, it was just
Wow.
so nasty, man.
Wow.
But we had dogs and stuff that we would send in before. Like what we would do in a situation like that is we'd surround the house. Like if we knew there's a really good chance of the house being booby trapped, we'd surround it. We'd have an interpreter with a megaphone, and we'd say, "Hey, man, this is basically like a scene out of a movie or something." They say, "Hey, this is the United States military. We're here. You have your house surrounded. Come on out."
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they come out, sometimes they wouldn't. Well, we would know if they're in there because we have drones in the air with. Hey, we got 6 people inside because we can see
Infrared
on it.
capabilities, and then they can see the heat signatures, right?
Yep, but they have no idea that we know they're in there or whatever. So it's like, hey, we know there's 3 of you in there. Come on out.
Yeah.
And so finally
You
they're
in
all
the corner, you on the chair, and you you in the bathroom. Come
Yeah,
on.
looks like you're laying down. Go ahead and get up, bud. So and once we got the house clean, most of the time they come out like they're supposed to, and
Yeah.
sometimes we'd have to send the dog in after them if they didn't want to, and man, I could go on for days and stories of just some crazy stuff that I seen doing that. But it was, I guess that's kind of the main part of that was they could send a dog in, and sometimes they trip the wire or something like that, so we didn't have to. But those military working dogs are just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And you weren't doing this. You didn't do this for a couple weeks. This was day in, day out. For how long?
Like 8 or 9 months at a time.
Wow.
Like if not every night, it was damn near every night.
Almost every night for almost a year.
Oh yeah.
You're going out every night and you're hunting down the folks that want to kill us.
Nope.
Oh man, thank you for what you did.
Yes, sir.
And you're part of a fraternity of combat photographers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those guys. I mean, I imagine you guys are still pretty close today.
We're very close. Man, I tell you, unfortunately, they say that 22 veterans kill themselves a day, and we have been we've had it rough in combat camera lately. Man, there's we've had it rough lately. There's been 2. I'll say loved ones because we love them. 2 loved ones.
It's family.
One about 2 months ago, and then a buddy, really good friend of mine, Jimmy Harper. He just he wound up killing himself a couple weeks ago, and he was the guy that people looked up to, and he really taught me how to roll with special forces, and he really, literally kept me alive because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have known what I was doing, and I probably wouldn't be here, to be honest with you. So for somebody that's such a good warrior like that to come home and to live through all the worst stuff that we've been through, to come home and let those demons kind of catch up with you is it's tough. I'm not going to say I don't understand it because honestly, I tried to kill myself once, and I
Over this.
just Iraq stuff, and it's just there's a lot of things about taking a picture that you don't really think about at the time because it's just a snapshot in your brain. I've went through a lot of therapy, and the therapists are like, when you take that picture, you don't think about it. That's actually ingrained in you. So, and not only am I taking the picture, but you have to come back and upload it in Photoshop, and you have to look at it a lot. And then a lot of times the stuff is just you have it saved in your your files and stuff, and you're seeing it. Not that it's really you're noticing it until after, because when you're over there kicking indoors every night, you don't have time to think about, oh, poor me. Like you're thinking, hey man, how am I not going to die? Like how do I do my mission? Like how do I not suck at what I'm doing so I can be effective? You don't want the last thing you want to do is go over there and be not effective. So yeah, it was tough.
These pictures that you take, they don't see the public eye doesn't see these. It's not like BBC or CBS reporters with their little helmets on doing the reporting, and they've got pictures of like this terrorist, like al-Zarqawi or Bin Laden. They've got pictures of them, like this was them. Those aren't your pictures. Those are totally classified.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we use. Our military leaders use to figure out their next move.
Yep. Well, I tell you, on the flip side of that, I did actually have some photos that were in like Newsweek and stuff like that that actually were published because The enemy has counterintelligence also. So if whoever holds the information wins here, kind of like the games. If the bad guys can tell their countrymen, hey, these Americans are here for bad reasons, and they're going to push out photos of dead little kids and stuff, and say, hey, look, the Americans are killing us, blah blah blah. Help us fight them. Well, no, we're going to put out something that says, listen, here's why that little kid died. It's because these bad guys are doing this or whatever. And it's really the counterintelligence over there is huge, and the psyops and stuff like that is something that people don't really think about. But it's a huge part of the mission. A lot of the photos that we did for psychological operations and stuff like that.
And some of these people, these people that we're going after over there, there's a difference between wartime killing and murder.
Yeah.
And these people are murderers. They're
Yeah.
murderers. I mean, kids are. I mean, I would imagine kids are dying because they have no problem strapping a bomb to a kid and turning him loose into a crowd.
Not at all. And the thing is one of the hardest things psychologically for us to know as American troops was knowing that, this dude that we just shot might not necessarily have been a bad dude, but we know that Al-Qaeda was going into towns and, basically walking up to because one elder man would be in charge of like his whole family. Like he might have 4 wives and 10 kids, and they're going to walk up, and once they find out who he is, and hey, where's your eldest son? Your eldest son walks up, and boom, they kill him right in front of you or cut his head off right in front of you. Yeah. Literally, they're barbarians. And they say, okay, if you help us, we're not going to kill the rest of your family. And he say, no, I'm not going to help you. They just start offing folks. Like, boom, there goes your daughter. There goes one of your wives. There goes this. And they'll keep going until you say, okay, I'll help you.
Wow.
Well, then they strap a bomb to your chest and say, hey, next time you see an American convoy come through, we want you to walk up to them. And they're either going to shoot you or you're going to blow them up. So and if you don't do that, we're going to be right here killing your family.
Waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And man, it was rough to know that. Once you find out that kind of stuff was going on, man, it's just that's the part that eats you. Even when you come home, it's like, man, you never really know. But at the end of the day, what kept me alive and what got me through a lot of stuff was it's either you or me coming home, bud.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's as bad as that sounds. It was.
And I'm going home.
Yeah. Here I am.
Yeah. We're 21 years into that conflict now, and still fighting those same fronts, and a lot of the American patriotism that swole up in the early 2000s has kind of gone away today, and people are questioning, why are we even there? Is this even worth it? I mean, we have no business being over there. What would you say to those people?
Man, I don't know, because it's tough. On one hand, I'm like, what are we still doing there? Personally. I mean, on the other hand, I saw firsthand the good that we did. A lot of the humanitarian stuff that you wouldn't know, like literally women would not be able to vote over there, like things like that.
Right.
Like women, the Middle East over there, the barbarian side, they are still very much men are for pleasure, women are for babies type thing. So women are only just about good for producing, and that's it. Like they
livestock.
Times are changing, but a lot of the areas we were at that was their mentality. So they didn't give it. A woman was about as good to them as their cat or dog or cow or something. It was it's crazy for us to imagine that, but and we're doing some good over there for sure.
Well, I mean, hats off to you for the work you guys did over there, and the work that keeps going on today.
Sure.
And this fraternity that you're taught, that this combat camp fraternity, and all the guys that have been over there in the stuff. And we'll say stuff because it's a family show. You know what it's really called. But when you come back, like you said, it's not over when you come back.
No,
it's not over when you come back. You lost 2 family members, like you said, to suicide over things, over what they had to deal with while they're there, and you yourself have even tried yourself. You've got an awesome family,
sir,
that loves you to death, man. I know that's what kind of keeps you going too.
Absolutely.
But people don't understand the realities of PTSD.
Yes, sir.
It's tragic. It's traumatic.
It is, and there's a lot of different reasons for PTSD. Like it's not just a war thing. Women that have been assaulted, kids that have been assaulted, whatever. Folks that have been in a car wreck, might not want to get in a car again. Like there's so many different things, and I'd definitely encourage this. Anybody that's out there struggling, listen to this, please. Suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. it may seem like it's a permanent problem in your head, but man, there's always some avenue to reach out to help. Like anybody listening, man, I'll always be there for you. I can tell you that, because don't make a permanent solution based off a temporary feeling, because there's a lot of folks that would love you. There's a lot of folks that do love you, and there's a lot of people that would be sad if something happened to you. So, you know, being that probably the lowest point in my life when I went through that, just wanted to be there to help people, man. That's why I volunteer a lot. It's not just my time anymore. Like it's I'm here for a reason time. So
that's exactly right. You know, God's given us all talents and abilities to use while we're here, but once we leave, man, it's gone. You can't use them anymore.
Yes, sir.
So while the sun is still shining on us this side of heaven, we got to use everything in our arsenal to help somebody else.
Yes, sir.
To point them to the Lord and to keep them moving in a direction that benefits them.
Yes, sir.
You know, and benefits their families, and eventually leads them to a place where they can find peace. Right.
Yes, sir.
And so, well, you come back from Iraq, and combat camera goes on with you, right? That's not it for you.
No, yeah, I did another. I did my second deployment, 2008. I was only with Special Operations that time, and we're not going to talk a lot about that deployment, because that was a top secret only deployment. But
holy cow, Ricky!
Yeah, those guys that are in Fort Bragg. You guys can Google the troops that are in Fort Bragg, and I'm not talking about the 82nd Airborne. We're talking about the upper echelon folks, and just running and gunning with those dudes every day is the real deal. It's not really a kill or capture mission like you're going to kill everybody. And you know that. Like it's we're sitting in a room.
Leave no doubt.
Yeah, we're sitting in a room like a mission brief before, and the first ones are kind of weird, but then you get to know, like, hey, I'm not going to ask many questions. Like, if it's a photographer, if they need me to know something, they're going to tell me, because I remember asking a few questions. They just look at me like, who's this guy? Just shut up. Shut up and take a picture, man. Okay, got you. But, you know, it's like, well, hey, where are we going? And they just give you the coordinates or something. Like, you know, like, they don't want you to know what you're even doing. So it's
you're not allowed to know the name of this country.
No, because if you get captured, man, we didn't have our name tapes. We couldn't carry our ID. It was like, hey, if you get captured, you're on your own.
Not even in uniform, just
well, uniforms, but people wearing like four and five different kind of uniforms.
Wow, holy cow!
It was just stuff that you read about in books.
That's Tom Clancy stuff.
Dude, yes.
You know? That stuff really happens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not just some kind of fiction stuff. Just because you don't see it on the news, it really does happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh!
I hope I don't get picked up tonight in my sleep for talking about this stuff.
So you do that, and we'll just glance right over that.
Yeah.
And then you did some time with the Thunderbirds.
Oh, yes, sir.
The Air Force Thunderbirds. You're riding in the back of these planes while they're doing all kind of crap.
Yeah, well, man, to be honest with you, in 2008, the Thunderbirds got some reach, man, because I was over there kicking indoors with the upper echelon folks in the military, and the chief of the Thunderbirds got a hold of me. He's like, hey, we want you to be our photographer. And I told him no a couple of times, because you know, my job's over here. I'm not the poster child of the Air Force or whatever. I didn't want to be ever. So I had won a bunch of awards over in Iraq and stuff. And in 2007, I was named one of the Air Force 12 Outstanding Airmen of the Year, which is
wow.
Out of like over 600,000 or 700,000 airmen, however many is in the Air Force, they picked a top 12, and I was one of the top 12.
Just you and your long handle lens.
Yeah, and to this day, I don't know what they're choosing the Redneck Alabama guy for, but
I got an idea.
Yeah, I mean that was super humbling, but the Thunderbirds wanted the show pony kind of people, and I guess I was a pretty good photographer too. So,
show pony Ricky.
Show pony Ricky said that. And man, I've been to 48 states and 26 countries, and we flew all over the place in the Thunderbirds, and I was the team's aerial photographer.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Yeah, it probably is. Probably a couple different ones. So I flew around telling the Air Force story, and hardly ever what we're talking about. It was more of the, overall Air Force stuff. And here's how to be a photographer in the military. Here's how to be an airman. And a lot of times traveling the world we were the only Americans that people ever meet. So you're literally the face of the Air Force, which I never really wanted to be. So it was kind of ironic to do that. But went on to the Thunderbirds and started flying and started getting some headaches. And
Those dudes are awesome too, by the way.
they are awesome.
Oh my
man.
gosh.
They're the best. Way better than those stinking Blue Angels.
Pensacola, whatever. Beach volleyball kids.
Yeah,
you know,
that's all they do.
yeah. It's not even a real plane, I don't think. It's probably aluminum or something.
Yeah.
But the Thunderbirds, are you actually in the cockpit with these guys, like sitting
back seats.
and they're doing all this aerial moves, and you're in there with them?
Oh yeah, well, I only flew during aerial missions. Like I didn't fly during every show or whatever. But whenever they needed, like all the, they do a lot of posters and stuff like that. They give out. So somebody's got to take those images, and that's where the team's aerial photographers are the ones that take those pictures. So it's
awesome.
They don't just fly anybody up there to say, "Hey, take our pictures." Hey, it comes from inside, internal. So to do that was really cool, man. It's hard to take a photo in those planes upside down and pulling 8Gs. And I think the most I pulled the photo I took that was hardest was about 8Gs, and it was pretty crazy with the Air Force Academy, and turbulence is pretty crazy. And you have to get the 6-ship Delta. They wanted to fly it over there. There's a big their chow hall is like a big kind of big sphere looking thing. Well, not sphere, but like arrowhead looking thing.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the jets all lined up and stuff, and man, my horizons were all jacked up, and I didn't get sick until I landed. And then, but when the pilot's like, "Ricky, Bobby, you all right?" I said, "I'm not feeling too good." He goes, "Well, I'm not feeling good. You can't be feeling good." I was like, "Oh, I sound like such a wimp now."
I was about to ask how many times you had to clean puke off your camera lens.
Yeah, I never made a mess, but there was a few times that I got sick for sure. Oh yeah, and the pilots would they'd laugh, laugh at you doing that.
How bad would they mess with you?
A lot. But the thing is, and the pilots would tell you now, they say, "Ricky, we can put anybody, we can put the hardest aviator in the back seat and make them sick, because if you're not in charge of the movements,
you don't know what
you're not expecting the movements.
The human body is not made for those things, man.
No.
Those guys that do that are legit for sure.
So you pulled 8 Gs in a Thunderbird.
Yes.
What's that like pulling 8 Gs?
It's like 8, however much you weigh right now. If you weigh 200 pounds, it's like 8 times that sitting on you right now. Like 1,600 pounds, like boom, like sitting on you like a bear.
You can't even breathe.
It's hard. It's hard. Anything after 4 Gs, we had the right equipment stuff on. Like you wear a G suit from your waist down, and anything over 4 Gs, it starts squeezing and keeping the blood up towards your heart, so it don't go down to your legs.
Oh my gosh!
There's a specific way to breathe and stuff like that, and they teach you all that. And it's if you don't do it, you'll go out pretty quick sometimes.
Yeah. Start getting that little tunnel.
Man, that is so true. That is so true. The first thing to go is your color vision, and then it starts going into a tunnel, and then and you squeeze, and I did that one time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man.
I passed out in training though, not in the jet. So just for the record.
Just for the record.
For the record.
That's when you're supposed to pass out.
Yes,
in
sir.
training.
It is.
So when were you officially? When did you officially leave the service?
2012. So February 2012, I was in for 10 years and 22 days, totally. And I miss it every day. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the people. That's another reason I like to volunteer and give back, is because Thunderbirds, we volunteered a lot. We gave back. We went always in children's hospitals and stuff like that, like the special needs stuff. Like, man, when I got home and ran into Miss June and, hey, let's do the special needs stuff. I was like, dude, let's go. Like the Field of Dreams and stuff. That was one of my first loves when I come back home, is jumping into that. And then I was doing that full time pretty much until I was asked to volunteer at the high school with football and baseball, and then that kind of took a lot of my time away from the special needs. And man, those kids have such a soft spot in my heart, and I still love them to death. But I just don't have as much time. Like you only have so much time when you got family and this and that.
And the Field of Dreams and Miss June Weed and Doro,
they're amazing, man.
They're amazing out there, right behind the Bradford Y, the Field of Dreams, special needs, adaptive ability ball field.
Oh yeah.
God, those kids light up every time they're out there.
Absolutely.
It's so much fun to be out there with them.
Yes, sir.
And then you move over to the back into the high school ranks, and you're setting up the comms every night for the high school games.
Yes,
and this is where I see the similarities between you and Millzer, right? Because both you guys have equipment that is like way too old to be being used.
Oh yeah.
And somehow you make it happen every Friday night.
Yeah, man. It's this is my 6th season doing it, and I'm setting up the same stuff I've had 6 years ago. And when somebody at Lanier High School was setting up stuff, laughing at me, that's when I was like, man, we got some dinosaur stuff here. The dude at Lanier, who they don't have any money, any money, is laughing at me about my equipment, like something's bad. Or not my equipment, but you know what I mean.
Right, what we're having to use.
Yeah. And like, man, that's dinosaur stuff. Yeah, I think the dinosaurs probably did use this stuff.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, yeah.
You're correct.
Oh, yeah.
We are kindred spirits.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? I know you would appreciate that, Millzer.
Absolutely.
Do you now?
He saves me about every Friday too. Maybe Millzer, you got this, you got that. He's like, yeah, I do.
I'm going to ask you this because see how kindred you really are. Because when it doesn't go right on a Friday night in the radio booth, Millzer gets to throwing things. He gets kind of violent.
Oh yeah.
Do you have the same kind of reaction?
No, not really. Like I just take things too personal. Like even though I know something's going to break, like I don't know why I take it personal, but I take it personal because I'm there doing it. I'm like, why can't I get this video up and running for him? I know why, because somebody didn't bring this or didn't bring that, or this is broken or whatever. And I know why, but still, I'm like, hey, man, I'm here. I should be able to produce, and it's I don't know. It's just one of them things, I guess.
But the bottom line is, have we ever not been on the air in 16 years?
No. Bottom line is, it's never happened.
He gets it, and no one would know how stressed he gets.
It may not be pretty, but it gets on the air.
This is why Millzer does in a broadcast. If you listen to playback on broadcast, Millzer won't speak till almost halftime.
Yeah,
he's just recovering from getting on the air.
Between that and me coming in there and picking at him and stuff. That's awesome.
But man, it's been so neat getting to know you and your story. I mean, I always knew you were a cool guy. You know, because as I know you were volunteering your time for the high school, and they couldn't do what they do on Friday nights without you and what you're setting up there. But I had no idea that there was these kind of layers to you, man. And you're just, I'm just honored to call you a friend.
I appreciate it.
And so I'm glad you were able to come do this today.
Yes, sir.
But I do want to know a couple more things. If you got a few more minutes.
Yeah, man.
I want to make you sweat. I see the white head thing coming out.
Are you good?
So you retire from the Air Force in 2012, and you come back to Prattville, and then it's time to just go to work.
Yep.
What was that like making that transition,
dude? It was weird. Imagine trying to go to Walmart, like just not even that, but like I'll never forget coming off my rack the first time and going to Walmart. Like one day it's like you're putting on your battle rattle to go anywhere because you're probably going to get shot at. You know that's going to happen. To going into Walmart and hearing someone complain about, oh my gosh, look how long these lines are. And you're like, oh my God.
They only have Louisiana iced tea. I like Lipton.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just to think of like how petty certain things are, and just how to put the world in perspective. Like, hey man, like I'm having a bad day today. I've had a lot worse days. So let's try to keep your head up there, Ricky, or whatever.
Well, I mean, I can, just, we as civilians, movies are really, we know they're not 100% accurate and everything, but you see the movies like The Hurt Locker.
Yeah. Oh man.
The ending of The Hurt Locker got me more than anything of it, because he comes back home and you could just see the 1,000-yard stare.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't home. He was there, but he wasn't there.
Yep.
Is that the kind of the feeling that you
sure
you get?
Man, there's I tell you, my wife could probably tell you better than most about that, but there's a lot of times that I'll be sitting there and it'll be a certain sight or a certain smell. It could be a burnt piece of meat on the grill. It could be a firework on not Valentine's Day, on like 4th of July or something, just something random. And it can
sometimes there's fireworks on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Maybe it's your house. Anyway.
Nope.
Anyways, but yeah, it could be anything. It'll send you back to a bad place, and that's 100% right. Some of those guys get it so right, and like the movie, The Lone Survivor. I actually didn't deploy with those guys that died, but their next deployment from that SEAL team was when I was there in 2006. And oh man, so to be back with those guys was just, and I had no idea who they were. All you heard was there's an Operation Red Wings, and you heard about that, and guys wearing patches. I still have one of the patches somewhere, and it was just knowing about that, to come home and like to see, hey, they turned this into a book and a movie. It's like, what? There's another a book that's coming out. It's called Black Hearts and Painted Guns, and it's about and I'm supposed to have some pictures in it supposedly, because it was about the group of regular Army I was with, the 101st Airborne, the 2nd and the 502nd Infantry, the Black Hearts.
Yeah.
In 2006, and that book's been coming out. It's supposed to be coming out pretty soon, and I've been very excited about that. So it's they got a hold of me somehow through Facebook. Man, Facebook is amazing. I've helped you keep up with people, and they just said, "Hey, man, don't know if you remember us or whatever. And I was like, no. They said, do you have any of your old imagery? I was like, no, but maybe. So I sent them what I had and stuff. We lost.
Technically, no.
Yeah. It's like, am I supposed to have this stuff? But no, I got rid of most of it through the advice of numerous doctors and stuff about how to not keep dreaming about stuff. Is, hey, just get rid of it. So a lot of it I get rid of, and some of it I've kept. I like to show my kids one day for sure. But not the gruesome stuff. I got rid of most of it, but it's probably I got rid of all of it. I think as far as I know.
Well, we were bringing up movies earlier. How do those affect you? The war type movies or anything?
Yeah.
Do you got like if something is like completely bull crap, are you in the theater going, that's bull crap?
No.
Or for something so real and right that it just kind of stuns you? I mean, do movies affect you?
Yeah,
to that extent?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of movies. Like we went to, I don't remember if it was the playoff game last year. We went down somewhere, and the football team went and watched a movie about.
Was it 1942?
Yeah, 1942. And we went in there, and they were like, "Coach, you gonna be all right? Watch this movie." I was like, "Yeah, I think I'll be okay, man." You get in there, you just hear the boom, boom, just the explosions and stuff, and I just not thinking, just got up and walked out. And I'll never forget, Coach Hall come walking out a few minutes later. He's like, "Man, you all right?" I was like, "Why is he asking if I'm all right?" Then I just kind of put two and two together in my head. I'm like, "Oh shoot, like, that is why I left." And so yeah, movies get me bad. Not as bad as like certain things, like I saw a lot of tortured bodies and a lot of burnt up. What do you say? A lot of just a lot of burnt torture bodies. I'll say that. So seeing stuff like watching the Targaryen, whatever, the Game of Thrones, and watching it and like seeing like the burnt bodies from the dragon or something like. And my wife and my stepson Carlos are really good about if they've seen a movie or know something's coming up, they'll tell me, "Hey, you might not want to look at this," and I'll look away. And they're good about it. That's just an instinct, and that's really cool that my family does that. And So yes, that stuff is there's a lot of triggers. That's what I call those, is triggers. And it's I may see something like that and just tell myself it's a movie, or that may keep me up for a few nights. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's for dang sure it's it affects me for sure.
And that's why we have to do better for our vets.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the stuff that you carry with you, and it's been years. It's been 10 years, and the stuff you carry with you is real, and we've got to take better care of our vets.
Sir,
better care of our vets. You guys this country owes a debt to people like you that can never be repaid, because you came back with your life, but in a lot of ways, it's cost you your life.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I just we could go on like this all day long, but. Man, I don't want to put a damper on anything, but wow, I mean, you paid a huge debt. You paid a huge price, Ricky.
And then here on this, you have to just marvel at his family and his support, your family, your support structure, because there's a lot of vets that don't have that.
Oh yeah,
and that's where they start going down that dark path. Mm-hmm. And it sounds to me like you have a great support structure that keeps you from going down that dark path.
Yes, sir. That and I also keep up pretty good with a lot of combat gamer buddies and stuff like that. We're real good at keeping up with each other, and just man, you never know how much just a text that says, "Hey man, how are you?" You might not have time to sit there and talk to nobody, but just to know that homeboy or homegirl's thinking about you, like it'll make you feel better or whatever. And those things always seem to happen when you need it the most. So it's if anybody out there is thinking about, got somebody's going through a rough time, just reach out to them, because you never know about "hey" or "I love you." Those words go a long way.
They really do.
Yes, sir.
They really do, especially when it's just out of the blue.
Oh yeah.
When the Lord puts it on your heart to drop a line on somebody, don't hesitate. They're going to think this is weird. Don't think it's weird.
Yep.
Just do it.
Absolutely.
Just do it. When the Lord moves you to do something, you do it.
Yep.
You don't question it, because you have no idea the repercussions of that one little action can do.
Yep.
It could be someone's last day, and you extended it with that little text.
For sure. But the thing is, like, I do it all again. All the stuff I've been through.
I was going to ask you.
I would do it all again if somebody didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
If I knew it was me or somebody else, there's no question I'd do it again, because I've had so many good experiences along with the bad. and met so many amazing people and seen and done so many amazing things. Like a kid from Prattville, like I've been to 48 states and 26 countries. Like,
yeah,
and I've seen the richest people in the world. I've seen the absolute slums of the world, and so that really puts such a perspective in your head. Of, you know, and like when I'm teaching the kids, you know, football, baseball, we're talking and stuff. And it's like, hey, there's a lot of life lessons. Like I might not be the best baseball player or whatever, but by golly, I can teach some kids something for sure. You know, it's just, there's a lot more than throwing a baseball that coaches can teach you. So it's a lot of life lessons and stuff. I try to teach them for sure. And
the life lessons that you teach with these kids carry them a lot. Will carry them a lot further than learning how to hit a baseball or catch football, or anything like that, or you know, or play between the whistles. You know,
and this just brought a question to my mind. Has any of these kids that kind of know your story, or has any of them ever asked you for advice as far as military service?
Oh yeah, man, quite a bit. And that's the thing is, like, I've had some parents say, hey man, like so and so joined the military, like, do you want to talk to him? I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not gonna push your kid in the military or not. Like, it takes a certain kid, like, and I've been so honest with people, like, hey, what do you know, coach, you think I can make it? And I'm like, yeah, you could, or no, you couldn't. Or here's why I say that, here's why I say no, here's why I say yes. Like, man, you have to, when you join the military, there's some people don't understand, it's not about you anymore. It's so much bigger than yourself. Like when someone says, hey, jump, you know, jump, you're not like, why? You're like, okay, how high? You know, I'm not going to question why you told me to jump. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have that blind faith to serve and to do stuff like that, instead of, you know, a lot of kids nowadays, hey, do this. Well, why? I don't have to do that. Man, so much bigger than that. Yeah. And it's some don't. So if there's a kid that I truly don't think can get that, I'll be honest with them. Like, no, man, I don't think you can do that because of this. And then I've actually had kids prove me wrong though. You know, I'm not sure if you can make it there, get out of basic training. Coach, you were right, man. Thank you. But here I am, I'm a Marine now. I'm freaking right on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Well, you know, you got a great support system at home, and you got another arm of your support system here in the Preferred Experience podcast.
Oh yeah,
man. Just anytime you need us, you know we'll be there.
Yes, sir.
And I know that anytime we call on Ricky's going to be there, because
absolutely,
you're a giver, man, and and I just you're a great American, and I salute you, and I appreciate everything you do, and I'm glad to call you a friend.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
Well, Millzer, this is about the time we would kick it over to Poetic Justice.
Yeah,
but I don't want to scare Ricky.
I think that part's actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we're having we're having to do Chip Powell's recordings at a different time. He's hit that time of year where he's traveling worldwide at different poetry festivals across the country. You know, and we can. I mean, we're blessed to have them, so we only can, you know, we'll take when we can get them. So we're hoping to have him in this episode. If not, we'll have a classic Poetic Justice, but we're going to try to get one in this episode before we put it out there for him.
It's awesome.
We will wait for Prattville's only self-nominated poet laureate.
Yep.
Whenever he can.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Poetic Justice. I'm Chip Powell, your host. Lewis Mills is at his real job. Co-host could not attend today. Said the car business is a booming. So I got to thinking. First of all, Will, Barrett, and Millzer, I am going to bring you an episode. I heard that you thought I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it, and I'm doing it right now. I'm going to tell you, I got a trip scheduled. I did it 3 years ago. I'm going to Montana to go hunting, but before then, it just happened to match up with the 63rd annual Bozeman, Montana Poetry Throwdown Classic. That's coming. Paul Ann Peterson, I know y'all know who that is, Poet Laureate Emeritus from Oregon, is possibly going to be there. She's 80. She'll probably be there. Obviously, y'all know Mark Gibbons, the Poet Laureate from Montana. He'll definitely be there. So I'm so excited and looking forward to that, and I hate that Lewis can't go along with me, but again, they're busy there at Larry Puckett Chevrolet, and go by and see him and remind him to get back on the show with me. But today's poem. I'm going to try to make this fairly quick because I've been gotten on to by the host of the third experience that my post sometime is a little long. So I'm going to make this short. Couldn't think of anybody but Robert Frost, the 20th century poet that has so many wonderful poems. But I just thought about, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you, I'm flying into Bozeman for the poetry festival there and the classic. After that, I'm driving down to Gardner, going to a hunting lodge there, and then I'm getting on a horse riding 25 miles out to the backcountry, going hunt elk for about a week. And I couldn't think of nobody that could relate to that more than Robert Frost. And of course, this poem is called Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. I admit I had to go back and think a little bit before I could recite the whole thing. Maybe the last couple lines I couldn't remember, but I'll go ahead and recite this to you now. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downly flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. And I thought that just came into my head, and I was sitting there thinking, I need to carry some Ambien with me to make sure I sleep. And that is a prescription medication. So I'm not telling people go do drugs out there, but I am going to take some Ambien to help me sleep. Where I figured yesterday, I am fifth on the food chain. You got the grizzly bear, you got the wolves, you got the cougars, you got the black bear, and then you got me. But my partner I'm going with is a big old offensive lineman. So I don't have to outrun the bear, the wolves, the cougar, and all that. I just got to outrun him. So really I'm fifth on the food chain, or sixth, and my buddy is going to be fifth. But anyway, looking forward to that and getting back and having, when you have those visions, you remember the American Indians, they'd go out and have these vision walks and quests. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to come back with some amazing thoughts and probably some poems that I come up with underneath that Montana sky. Big sky country, Montana. We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
But we do have the Motivational Minute today. No? Still? What is going on with our people, Stacy?
We will have our Motivational Minute. As also, I haven't edited it yet. I'm sorry.
This is ridiculous.
Get your life
football
together.
Season. We're lucky we're even doing the podcast.
This is ridiculous.
Man. Come on.
Ricky, you deserve better than this. Normally there's Poetic Justice, followed by the Motivational Minute, and I mean,
get it out of your system. I'm just going to edit this out anyway.
Yes. Yes.
That's the power of the podcast.
That's awesome.
This is Coach Donny Burnett, and here's today's Motivational Minute. Today's quote comes from one of the great football coaches of our times. Well, maybe. Coach John McKay says, "Bad is never good until worse happens." And I believe he was talking about his Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day. This is Coach Donny Burnett, and that's today's Motivational Minute.
All right. Well, Ricky, thank you again, brother.
Yes, sir. It's been an honor. Thank you, guys.
For Ricky Rose and for the Millzer, I'm Will Barrett, as always, saying thanks for tuning in. And as always, good evening, good night, God bless, and go Lions.
Go Lions. All right.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Man, Will, love you coming in, pinch hitting, and dude, you hit a grand slam tonight.
Well, expect nothing less from me, Daryl. I'm the best.